Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, make sure you grab some time with Patrick this weekend. Make sure you actually enjoy the time with him as much as we all have right now. Patrick, we'll see you, I think, a bit later on. Patrick Stewart, ladies and gentlemen, and Will Wheaton. Patrick Stewart and Picardo. So good, isn't it? All right, okay. Who shall I bring out next? How about some ladies are coming, obviously. How about someone intriguing?
Karl.
Yes. Shall we bring out, he's no longer with us technically, but I suspect we could reboot him if we all shout loud enough. Let's go crazy for, yes.
Yeah, Brent Spiner.
That one strangled cry. Yeah. Brent Spiner, ladies and gentlemen. You've just arrived. You just came in.
I thought they'd never leave.
Data is technically dead. Technically, of course, I suspect of all the characters, he would be in some ways the easiest one to bring back.
In some ways.
If you were approached, and I just spoke to Patrick about this, but if you were approached to maybe insert him into a new successful movie that is come up, could you be tempted? Is there any talk? Has anyone made a call?
I could be tempted as long as the rest of the cast of Next Generation were not involved in it. In fact, do they make one-person movies? Well, Tom Hardy did one, didn't he?
Well, look, sometimes people make them and accidentally get leaked online. You don't mean that kind of a movie. Because you wouldn't need our permission to make that kind of movie. You just lock yourself out. And that is not a euphemism. I mean, have fun doing it.
I don't even have to speak.
You must miss playing him though, don't you? I know it was a big chunk of your life, and we miss seeing him because, you know, how much did we fall in love with Data? He was so excited whenever he was on the screen.
Thank you. What's that?
We love Spock too. Yes, but why would you shout that when Spock's not here and Data back his place? Oh, I see.
I don't even need to be here. I think the rest of you guys could.
But we can do this anytime. We're excited you're here.
Who's Spock? I know. Oh, Spock!
That was my fault. And I take full responsibility. It was that woman, she did.
Don't mention it.
Now he's upset it, you see. I mean, I know it was meant well. Looking back on the scenes, was there a favourite one you had? I was watching one of mine this afternoon. You know the episode where you begin and you're performing in Christmas Carol?
Yes.
Patrick is directing, Jean-Luc is directing. That's one of my favourites.
You know, I loved playing Scrooge in Christmas Carol. I'm thinking about doing a one-man show. No one's ever done that, have they?
Who would go and see that?
Exactly.
You're here all weekend as well, of course?
I'm here all weekend.
Yes.
I'm yours. Well, we're back to that same old subject.
We are back to that, if you want it to be that way. But it's so lovely to see you, and it's so great you're here. Brent Spiner, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, I thought you said Spock, which is beyond the realms, and I thought, why are you doing that? But of course, I was doing it subconsciously. Okay, how about someone who is said to be omnipotent, ladies and gentlemen? Someone always evasive about their motivations. Not Boris Johnson, no. Not yet. Will you will that? Yes, you are right. Not Spock, but cue John de Lancie.
He's listening to Borderline Radio.
You're like a fine wine. Look how good he looks at the age he's ladies and gentlemen. Let's uncork him and have a little whiff. Fine wine if you come on. This is a question, I don't know if you've had this before, because I'm trying to do questions, and I went online last night and asked people on Reddit if they had questions, and I have some from some Star Trek fans on Reddit, from our Star Trek. But one of the questions they said was, you may have had this before, if you had the powers of Q, and you must have thought of this, I'm sure, what would you do?
I would, it's not very Q-like, I understand, because it's not quite naughty enough, but I would probably give the same wish that I wished since I was a little boy. Every time you had to blow out the candles on your birthday cake, I wished and would wish for everybody to be happy. And the Q answer would be, I'd like to put organized religion back in the bottle.
So there's something for everyone in those two answers right there. And some of us would find that one solution leads to the other one anyway.
I would say so.
I was talking to Patrick about working with his son, and of course you performed with your son in one of the episodes.
I did. And the question is?
The question is, how was that?
Oh, well, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, because the thing is this, is that if you have a child, I'm sure you know, you want them to do well. But if you're playing a character as an actor, one does not extend themselves sort of empathetically that far. So I was mostly kind of leaning in and being an actor anymore, but being a parent, watching my son going, oh, you're doing well, yes, okay, oh my gosh, oh, like that, and experiencing that as opposed to being Q. So it was. I'm delighted he had a great time. For me, it was a rocky time.
When you said being Q, then I thought you were saying BNQ, which is the popular line. And it seems to me that there's an opportunity there missing, not having you do that voiceover. You're here all weekend as well, of course.
I am.
Of course, it's John Lancie, ladies and gentlemen. Someone shouted out, let's bring out some of the women, some of the ladies. One of the things we've always loved about Star Trek is the way they've challenged and often been so far ahead of their time with dealing with social issues which now we perhaps take for granted. I'm going to go on record and say, and I've been thinking about this far too much, I'm sure you'll have, my favourite captain, and I've lucky enough to have met Patrick Stewart a few times, lucky to have spent time with Shatner. My favourite captain isn't here this evening, it's Janeway. I've done it. Ruined my friendship with Bill. But she's not here, but we do have two fabulous people coming out right now. If I were to say to you, Tasha Ya, ladies and gentlemen. And if I was to say to you, Dr. Beverly Crosser, you would know it's Denise, Crosby, and Gates Mcfaddan. That's a proper bit of showbiz going on right there. Okay, let me start with you, Denise. I'm going to ask you about playing yourself and then playing your own daughter. You as a one person and then you as the daughter person.
Well, as you know, I never actually played myself. Right? I played Lieutenant Tasha Yar and Sela. That's what you're asking.
That's what I mean.
Okay. I just want to clarify.
Let's be clear.
Because, playing myself would put me in a league of my own. But, it was incredible. I mean, really challenging and exciting as an actor to be able to play one's own daughter and take that as an acting challenge. But most importantly, it gave me an opportunity to come back to the show and hang out with my buddies and, revisit the whole, be part of it, continuing to be part of it.
Presumably when you first played Tasha, you didn't know they had that in mind, so you didn't perform in a certain way knowing that you would then be echoing that character.
Oh, God, no. We just made it up as we went.
Well, you made it up fabulously.
Oh, my God.
Gates. First of all, Gates is such a great name. Isn't Gates a great name? Gates is a great name.
I don't think so, but,
We had your erstwhile captain out here. He was a little ungallant, if I may say so, but then he corrected himself. I'm going to ask you the same question. I don't know if we felt fully satisfied by your relationship with the captain.
Well, I can understand how you all might feel that way. But can I say I was very satisfied. Time and time again.
You carry yourself like a satisfied woman.
Ooh la la!
Denise engaged their Holy Weekend as well. Thank you so much. Really satisfied. Lovely. Wow. You get all the kisses. Okay, there's so many people. This is an embarrassment of riches. I'm going to bring out 3 at once now. And I was backstage and I said to them, because they only have a finite time here in the hall before the big party, how many people are going over to the Fox pub for the party? I'm going to have a pale ale. So, they've asked me to bring out 3 at once. And I could really, literally, any of these 3 you could bring out on their own and we would all love seeing them and hearing them speak. They've asked me to bring out Worf, Geordie, and Dina at the same time. Michael Dorn, Levar, Burton, and of course Marina Sirtis. Hello sir, how are you? Right, there you go. Give me that. Oh wow, that's strong. Okay. Well, where to start? Well, let's start with Marina. Let's start with the lady here because you're here and everyone knows this.
Hang on. If I'm in the middle,
go in the middle.
I'm an Oreo. That's what I meant.
No, a clean filling is even worse, I'll be honest with you. Okay.
That's rude, isn't it? That's rude.
It's unusual that I'm the one trying to calm things down.
That's wishful thinking on your part, Dorney. Absolutely. Yes. Jonathan.
You're over here, you're a big football fan, everyone knows that.
Come on, you Spurs!
Well, that's the one who goes so far.
When it comes to football, they turn really quickly.
Has everyone here seen your tattoo?
Have you seen my tat? No?
Oh, people sound scared now. Okay. It's up on the shoulder. Would you like to see the tattoo? Look at this. We don't have cameras here, but you have cameras there.
It's the only tattoo I got, and my husband said when I got it, you love that team more than you love me. And I said, no, darling, I just loved them longer.
You don't live here now, though. You live in the States,
I live in the
don't you?
States.
Okay, you must love coming back.
I do. I wish I could come back for good. Get me a job here, Jonathan, so I have an excuse to come back to
Well,
England.
no, this is kind of a job. We'll do more of these and more of these. Okay, let's ask Morph a question. How are you, sir? You're looking fine. Are you looking fine? Is it true, and people might know this, I'm not sure that your voice did grow deeper over the years because of the amount of time you spent playing Morph?
Oh, I don't know. Yes, it did actually. My voice is deep already, but over 7 years it got deeper and deeper until people thought I was putting it on when I answered the phone.
Sorry, I'm just still, my knees went weak.
Take a moment.
I just fell in love. You know what? We have an expression in England, gutted. I'm gutted for you because Game of Thrones is a great series. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover love for Game of Thrones here, is there? And if anyone should be the Dornish king, it's Michael Dorn. I thought that would go down bigger. Let's move on. Great to have you here. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, who doesn't love Geordie? I met Geordie years ago. He's completely forgotten this, but I met him years ago, and what was so lovely, I was a huge fan. I fanboyed all over the place. But you were very kind and very sweet with me. This was in America, but you were at this event we were at because you had just started your literacy campaign, your Rainbow Reading.
Reading Rainbow.
I know, which is very hard for me to say, whichever way you do it. But you're still involved with that,
Yeah.
So that's been a big success, hasn't it?
We had a Kickstarter earlier this year, and we managed to raise, before Seth McFarlane gave us $1 million, we raised 5.4, so the total was $6.4 million.
When you started out, you can't have imagined it would be that big.
There was no thought. I mean, we were on during the summer encouraging kids to read through the medium of television, using the technology of the time to get kids hooked on books.
You know, I've always loved you on the show. I love all of you in the show. And I know that being in the show for that long, especially a show which involves makeup and involves prosthetics and that kind of thing, you had a skin problem 3 years after, didn't you?
Yeah, for 2 years it was really bad.
And did you have any problems?
I just couldn't see with the visor on.
But did you have... But when it came off, your eyes were fine?
When it came off, I could see fine, yeah.
When it was on, you couldn't see?
When it was on, I couldn't see. Yeah.
My favorite story, which I forgot and I realized, is that when they put on the visor, there was no way to really hook it on and make it look good. So they took screws and they screwed it in inside of his,
Well, there were flanges between the screws in my head.
So you had a flange screw attachment.
Yeah.
Screw loose comes from, right? Yeah. From your visor.
What happens? Do you still have those?
Wake up!
I still have the visor.
You have the visor?
I still have it.
How many visors did you get through? Did you?
There was only one.
There was only one visor.
And sometimes I put it on and my wife and
That must be the worst night ever, because we've established you can't see what you're doing when you're...
That's where the fun comes in.
Ladies and gentlemen, give a huge round of